Hello, Sagittarius, and welcome to your love and relationships reading for February 2023. This is going to be looking at you and your connection to the person that you are dealing with. This doesn't just have to be romantic. It could be, friendships, coworkers, family members. The intention of this reading is the person that you are currently learning the most from at this time. The point is to look at all three sides of all three sides of the story. There are three sides to every story. So we've got your version of the truth, their version of the truth, and that higher level unbiased truth in the middle. I'm using 7 different decks in this reading. So I've got the 3 oracle decks that I've already pulled from, which we'll go over those in a second. And then I have 3 different tarot decks I'm using for each side of the reading. And then I have the overall advice card from Spirit that I'll be pulling at the end in the extended. Any information on the extended or on booking a personal reading with me is in the description box below. The last thing to mention is that, remember, this is a general reading. It will not resonate for everyone. In addition, the energies might be swapped. So if you end up resonating more with the energy over here than over here, that's totally fine and totally normal. All right, Sagittarius, let's jump in. On your side of this connection, you have prosperity lies ahead with nourishment. So whatever this connection is, whoever this is to, you see it as a very prosperous connection. It's one that you are wanting to nourish. Now, I'm not sure. No, I feel like that's very straightforward. It's just, you see this as a prosperous connection, and this is one that you're wanting to nourish. Now, I also feel like this is one that is going to need to be nourished over a long period of time. In order to, and I say that, it's funny because I said that and I actually forgot this card was here. The overall energy for the reading is time and water. So the way that I see this is about really allowing this connection to flow. I feel like this is a very emotional connection, not necessarily in a negative way, just it does have, there's a lot of emotion involved in this connection, and time in this connection is very important for some reason. I feel like it's like in terms of taking the time to grow together or taking the time to come back together. I'm not exactly sure, but time is a very important aspect in this reading. This person don't let your past hold you back with gratitude. This person's very grateful for this connection, but I feel like because of what they've been through in relationships and just in their life in general, they're struggling with their past holding them back. Now, the cool thing about this connection, and I really liked this when I saw this, was you have luck is on your side with teachers. So the way that I'm viewing this is like, you guys are teachers for each other. This is a connection that is definitely pushing, the other to grow. And I feel like that's why it's very emotional. And I also feel like that's why time is very important, because the growth and the lessons that are needed to be learned in this connection are going to really happen over time. And it's not going to be this isn't an easygoing connection. It's not necessarily a hard connection to be in, but it is I feel like it's a very triggering connection. It's pushing, the other to grow quite a bit. And those connections can be very, very powerful, but also very, very challenging. And it doesn't have to be challenging in a difficult way, though. I feel like that's an oxymoron. Or not an oxymoron, but that's like, I don't know. I just feel like it's like, yes, it's a challenging connection, but it doesn't have to be hard to work through, I guess, in a good way. It's a good kind of challenging. All right, Sagittarius, this side of this connection. Let's clarify this. Prosperity lies ahead with the nourishment card. Sagittarius, this side of this connection. Ooh, okay. Right now is a time for you to focus on building your own personal foundation that could help this connection come together in a very stable way. Because I feel like right now is like you guys are working on yourselves individually so that this connection can come together in a healthy way, even if you guys are in a relationship together. It's like right now is a time of working on the connection individually in a way. Because right now is a time of releasing this like sense of loss. Like I feel like you either fear the loss of the connection in the future, or you're dwelling on some sort of loss from the past, or you're fearing that this connection is going to turn out like other connections that you've lost have turned out. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's almost like right now you're wanting to focus on nourishing the connection, but there's a need to focus on nourishing yourself in a way, which will in turn nourish the connection. Hope that makes sense. I feel like there are going to be some positive changes in this connection happening soon. Sagittarius' side of the connection. Sagittarius' side of the connection to the person they are dealing with. Yeah, so this is another, it's like there's a need to kind of just let this connection flow. Like I feel like you have a little bit of take this with a grain of salt, because you have a little bit of unrealistic expectations for this connection. That doesn't mean that what you're wanting out of a connection is unrealistic. What I mean is, like, things aren't going to be good all the time, right? And I feel like maybe you're learning that a little bit, that there will be those times when things just aren't really that good. My significant other and I actually had a conversation about this the other day, and it was probably the coolest conversation I've ever had in any relationship ever. Is he actually brought it up. He was like, I've noticed that every time we get into an argument, which we don't even really argue or fight or anything like that, but anytime we get into a tiff, I guess, like we're at odds with each other, there's a misunderstanding, after we work through that, because usually what happens is we have to take time to ourselves to kind of process the situation, and we come together and we talk about it together. And after we're able to work through that, we always see our relationship like is in a better place afterwards. So what we've learned is that every time we go through something difficult, it actually is for the betterment of our relationship and of us as individuals. And so what I've had to learn to do, because I do struggle with relationship anxiety, and it's something that I've had to work quite a bit through. What I struggle with, and I promise there's a point to this, it ties back to the message, is that understanding that, relationships really are up and down, just like everything in life, and things aren't always going to be good. And that's kind of the beauty of relationships. Now, it's about how you handle the times when things aren't so good that really dictates whether it's a healthy relationship or not, right? So when things aren't going so well, what I've learned to do for me personally is I have to step away. I can't have a conversation right then and there whenever I'm triggered, because I have the tendency to be very reactive. So I have to step away, and I have to, process things on my own, and then, same kind of thing for him. And then we come back together and we talk about it. And I've learned that through this, it allows us to allow the relationship to flow a little bit. And that's right, like what's, you guys are struggling with right now, is allowing things to flow and understanding that things aren't always going to be good. They're not always going to be bad either. And if they are always bad, then that isn't a healthy relationship. Now, when I first got into this relationship, for the longest time, I was like, we never argue. What's the problem? Like, there's got to be something wrong. And I've learned that, like, arguments it doesn't always have to be an argument. And I feel like that's kind of where, like right now, because you have that Queen of Swords on the bottom of the deck, is you can speak your truth in a connection. You can do it in a very loving way, in a way that allows your needs to be heard, but also doesn't make the other person defensive. And I feel like that's kind of where the balance is needed in this connection right now. Because this is about letting the connection flow, letting what happens happen without getting too caught up in like worst case scenarios or like big decisions during the times when emotions are high. I hope this is making sense. I feel like because there's conflict here. Now you guys are working through it. You're working through a lot of conflict, actually, because your conflict stems from these, it's like limiting beliefs. Like, you have limiting beliefs about this connection. I actually, really quick, I'm going to clarify this Eight of Swords and see clarifying the Eight of Swords here for Sagittarius. Okay, clarifying the Eight of Swords for Sagittarius. There's a lot about this connection that is being hidden from you. Okay. All right. So this connection has a tendency to poke at your inner child trauma. Not in a sense that this person isn't out to get you. They're not out to traumatize you like you've dealt with. But this is about helping you move on from limiting beliefs about relationships that you've gained throughout your childhood. Like maybe for you, every time there's a conversation, it's always an argument. Like every problem that you come to in relationships, it always ends in like an argument, and there has to be a winner, right? There always has to be someone who wins or loses the argument. And that's just not how healthy relationships work. You really have to learn that every time that two people feel reactive, that there's a lesson for each person to learn. And that's both within you and then within the relationship itself. And when we kind of, in my own personal experience, and I'm talking about my personal experience because that's my intention with my readings, is to use my experience to help others, is because I used to be the poster child for toxic relationships. Like, I used to be in the worst, most toxic, chaotic, just not good relationships that you could have imagined. And I've had to really change a lot of the people that I surround myself with, and change myself too. And so why I'm talking so much about my current relationship is that it really is the first time I've ever experienced a healthy relationship, and I've learned a lot because of it. And I've learned that when we kind of have to separate before we come back together and talk about a problem we're having, I have to look at my fault in it. And I have to say, okay, what am I doing, or how am I reacting, or what is this triggering in me from my past that's currently being brought to light that I need to address and heal before I bring it into our conversation and create an argument from it. Because right now, this connection really is triggering inner child trauma. And that inner child trauma, if you're not able to recognize it, you could have the potential to bring it into the connection and sabotage the connection. I'm not saying that that's what's happening or that's what you're going to do, but there are limiting beliefs about connections that stem from childhood that it could just be like how you've watched your parents have relationships, or how your relationships that you had since you were a kid have been for you. Either way, there's a little bit of healing and more like acknowledgement that needs to be done than anything, to kind of help work through some conflict here. But all right, Sagittarius' side of this connection to the person that they are dealing with. Sagittarius' side of the connection to the person they are dealing with. Okay, vulnerability, because now you have the Eight of Swords in reverse on the bottom of the deck. Vulnerability is key here. And I feel like Sagittarius, you have a little bit of a hard time with that. Not that you are like a super closed off person or anything like that, but you have a hard time being very honest with yourself about how you feel, and specifically about how this person affects you. I feel like you don't like to be affected by people, or that you don't like that this person affects you the way they do. And so you kind of aren't honest with yourself about that. Now, understand that this person is affecting you not because of them, but because of what they're triggering in you. This connection is to help you release the limiting beliefs that you have about relationships. And I feel like that's going to be the limiting belief that I'm talking about, I feel like is going to be so specific that I can't tell you in this general reading what that is. But I do feel like if you ask for the guidance of what it is that exactly that, this is trying to show you, this connection is trying to show you, I feel like you'll get the answer. Because this is a lot, I mean, it has to do with letting things flow. It's almost like I feel like when there's a problem in a connection, you have a tendency to withdraw instead of face the issue and figure out how to move forward. Like maybe you have a tendency to run away, instead of kind of face the problem and work through it. And if not, then they have that tendency, and that is triggering something in you. That could be the case too. Okay, Sagittarius' side of the connection to the person they are dealing with. Either way, I mean, you guys are teachers for each other. You guys have a lot to learn from each other about relationships and connections, and because you have luck is on your side. So luck is on the side of this connection. I don't think this is necessarily a negative connection. Ooh, okay. I'm going to clarify that. You have the 10 of Wands with the 9 of Swords in reverse. I want to clarify this message. Clarify this message, please. Because I feel like it's not that interesting. Sometimes you can feel kind of burdened by this connection. And the reason for that is, I mean, we're seeing this Page of Wands again. The reason for that is this connection brings up a lot of anxiety for you. About, I don't know, it's just in general. And that's kind of a cycle that needs to be healed, because again, there's something about inner child, about how you approach a connection and how you've been approaching connection since you were a kid. I want more information on this message, please. More information on this 10 of Wands, actually. That's what I'm going to clarify. I want to clarify this 10 of Wands. This burden. Clarifying this 10 of Wands. Oh, I think I know what it is. Yeah, there's the King and Queen of Wands. In a reverse, you have a tendency, Sagittarius, to take on this person's burden. So if whatever they're going through, like for instance, okay, like a good way to explain this is like, say this person has been through, traumatic experiences, and that they have, certain things that have led them to not be able to open up or be emotionally vulnerable with you, to not have the emotional intelligence that you ultimately want in a connection. Now, because that they've opened, I'm not saying this is the case, but this is just kind of explaining the energy. Now, because you know about their past, you can have empathy for why they act the way they do. But here's the kicker. Having empathy is fantastic, but just because you know why somebody acts the way they do does not mean that you have to bear the burden of the of the side effects of whatever it is that they've been through. If this person is not actively working through what they need to work through to treat you better, that is not your burden to bear. That is not your burden to bear at all. In fact, I feel like what this is why this is saying you are wanting to nourish the connection, you're wanting to nourish this person, and there's a need to focus on nourishing yourself right now. Because, and it's not that this connection can't come together in a healthy way, it's just I feel like there's healing that needs to be done on each person's end that will help this connection come together in a healthy way. But let's see. Sagittarius' side of the connection. Sagittarius' side of this connection. Yeah, so things aren't moving forward in this connection right now because there's a need for you to step out of your comfort zone here. And stepping out of your comfort zone in terms of like really truly working through this conflict, like this is interesting. Almost working through the conflict that you feel about this connection on your own before you try to work through it as like through it with the other person. Because I feel like you're looking for answers through this person that you're needing to find on your own first so that you can go into a conversation or, finding resolution to a situation with a clear mind of what it is that you need and how you feel about it. Because I feel like there's a level of you that just kind of wants to work past it and get over it and move forward, when in reality, there's some things that need to be learned here. So the connection isn't moving forward because there is a need to kind of change the way that you're currently approaching it. Please be on. Okay. But let's see. Okay. Let's look at the person Sagittarius is dealing with side of the connection. Let's see what they've got going on because they're very grateful for this connection, I feel like. The person that Sagittarius is dealing with side of the connection. But I feel like they don't I don't know. They don't have, I feel like this person lacks a little bit of emotional intelligence. This person's energy towards Sagittarius. This person isn't very happy right now. And I feel like they're staying busy to deal with that. It's not that they're not happy with the connection. I feel like they're not very happy with themselves. I feel like this person has a really hard time facing their emotions. But to be completely honest with you, Sagittarius, I feel like that's a mirror in you. I feel like you have a hard time because we have this vulnerability card, right? You might have a hard time with that vulnerability aspect too. The person Sagittarius is dealing with energy towards Sagittarius. Let's see. What else we got? So this person's like keeping busy. It's almost like they're trying to distract themselves from dealing with this connection. Interesting. Huh. They feel like they can't give you what you deserve. But they only think that because of the way they think about themselves, right? I mean, yeah, they doubt themselves quite a bit. I kind of want to clarify this Six of Pentacles in reverse. This is clarifying Six of Pentacles in reverse for the person Sagittarius is dealing with synergy. So I was on the bottom of the deck. It's the Four of Wands. It's like, I feel like they think that they need to be more stable before they're worthy of this connection. But you're over here like, no, I just want to love you. Like, I want to be friends. I want to hang out, whatever the case is. But this person doesn't feel worthy of this connection. They don't feel like they can give you what it is you need. But I feel like that stems from their past. So let's get more here. This is the person Sagittarius is dealing with side of the connection is Sagittarius. Look at that. They're also kind of feeling burdened by this connection. But then there's the Queen of Wands in reverse. It's like they don't want to burden you. And you want to take on their burden. I see. You don't want to take on their burden. And that's not healthy. You can't fix yourself through other people, right? You might want to. But you still have some healing that needs to be done here, Sagittarius. Let me get clarity on their Ten of Wands. Because this is the same Ten of Wands. This Ten of Wands is kind of tripping me up a little bit. Clarifying this Ten of Wands and the person Sagittarius is dealing with synergy. This is the burden is their burden. So this is a different Ten of Wands than what you're dealing with. Kind of. It's not, though. It's the same Ten of Wands. Because this person, I love how I just said, because there's the Five of Wands. They feel like they cannot give you what you deserve. They want this connection. There's the Nine of Pentacles. They want this. But in the Justice here, they feel like they can't give you what you deserve. And that stresses them out. They're very grateful for you, though. Like, that gratitude card, like, it just keeps drawing my attention. Like, I just feel like they have so much gratitude for you. I feel like they fear that they don't, like, they can't provide for you the way you provide for them. And maybe that's where the disconnect is. Like, maybe you need to provide for yourself more than you're providing for them so that they can kind of handle their stuff right now. And that's why it's like, yeah, you have this wanting to nourish them, but you're needing to nourish yourself right now. This person, Sagittarius, is dealing with side of the connection. Their past. That's what holds them back. They're running from their past. Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm going to be a little nosy. Can I get clarity on the Six of Cups? Can I get clarity on the Six of Cups? I don't know if I'm going to get, because I know I can feel it. I'm being nosy, and usually when that's the case, I don't get the answers I want. Clarity on the Six of Cups. Clarity on the Six of Cups. They know, okay. It's like a roundabout message. So they know that their past, like, it's not going to tell me what part of their past, but they know that their past is something that they haven't dealt with. I feel like they're aware of the fact that they're running and distracting themselves from their past. I mean, they have don't let your past hold you back, right? And right now their past is something that is very present in their mind. It's very present in their energy, and that doesn't necessarily mean past relationships either. It could mean just the way that their past relationships have affected them, right? Because remember, you're kind of dealing with some inner child energy too. So it doesn't necessarily mean, it doesn't mean that they're like thinking about anyone else or like wanting to be with anyone else. That's not what I mean. It's just they feel like they're like I feel like they feel that they would sabotage this relationship because of the way that they've sabotaged past relationships. I feel like that's ultimately what it comes down to. But let's see. This is the person Sagittarius is dealing with side of the connection to Sagittarius. There's that conflict. You guys had an argument, and they're very stuck on that. I feel like if there was an argument between you guys, again, not necessarily an argument, but conflict of some sort, it affected them pretty intensely. It's like they're stuck on it. Like they can't move past it. Not because they're like upset at you necessarily, and maybe they are, maybe they're projecting and being defensive about it, but that's not how I read this. Is it just feels like they're like overthinking, like something happened between you two that is stressing this person out. That's essentially what I'm feeling here. Person Sagittarius is dealing with side of the connection to Sagittarius. Huh. Seven of Wands with the Fool. I think what this is saying is no. Hang on. I hear more. Let me get more. clarifying the Seven of Wands and the person that Sagittarius is dealing with energy towards Sagittarius. Clarifying the Seven of Wands. Seven of Wands, like I'm hearing boundaries. Yeah, this person has a hard time setting boundaries with you. I feel like it's kind of cute. Like, I feel like you make this person like feel very weak, not like you just affect this person. And I feel like they don't like that. Interesting, because I said that about you, right? You don't like the way that you affect them, and they don't like the way that they affect you. Wait. You don't like the way that they affect you, and they don't like the way that you affect them. There we go. All right. Well, I mean, they care about you. Oh, no. I understand now. I mean, what I said was true. But this is also saying that they fear any communication between you guys is going to be an argument. That's the biggest thing. They fear any communication between you guys is going to be an argument. Maybe that's the lesson from childhood that's needing to be addressed here. Is like, and it could be the other way. Remember that. It's almost like communication is about, it's everything that I said at the beginning of this reading, right? It's learning how to understand your side of things and them understanding their side so you can come together and talk about it in a healthy way. It's not arguing in a who's right, who's wrong kind of way. That will never lead to a fulfilling relationship. And I feel like this person feels like every time they try to communicate, there's an argument, or you feel like every time you try to communicate with them, there's an argument. Either way, it could be both of you too. All right, there we go. I was wondering. All right, we're going to hop on over to the extended. You have luck is on your side with teachers. I'm going to pull 9 cards for this middle section, and then I have an advice card to pull from Spirit at the end. Thank you guys so much for the support of this channel. It means the absolute world to me. I'm not going to be doing these love readings every week. This is going to be like an every other week kind of thing. I haven't really decided. I'm just kind of doing it as I feel guided. But thank you guys again. I hope that this helped and resonated with someone out there, and I hope to see you back in future readings. All right, bye, Sagittarius.